What dark secret are you hiding from everyone? It's been 6 months since my little sister killed herself, and everything I see and everyone I talk to reminds me of her. I can't seem to finish my day without crying, at least for a few minutes, at most for hours. I feel guilty for living while she is laying under the dirt. I hate every Sunday and 29th of every month. I pretend like I'm okay and laugh like I'm used to it, hugging face. I've been accessory to both my parents' infidelity. At age 5, my mother cheated on my dad while he was deployed, and my brother told me what was happening and that I shouldn't tell anyone. My father slept with his secretary 2 years later, for a few years, and would even bring me on dates with her, telling my mother we were going to the movies. He took me to her house and had her roommate watch me while they went out or just hung out in her room. They're still married. I don't know if either know the other did the thing or if they still are doing the thing. Edit, to everyone saying maybe they're in an open or poly relationship, sure, maybe they are, but I doubt it considering their views on most everything. Also, if they were in one, then they should have explained it to us instead of sneaking around and telling us not to tell the other parent, and maybe don't bring your kid on your house dates. So yeah, maybe they were, but if they were, then emo, their behavior goes from shitty for involving their kids in their infidelity to shitty that they involved their kids in a lifestyle without explaining it to them and making their kids think that they were cheating on each other. I would be perfectly okay with never talking to any of my immediate family again. That I didn't graduate from college. I failed one course my senior year, second semester. The ceremony was already set up, so they let everyone walk. I had no diploma in my award, nobody knows to this day, and it's been 17 years. Failed one course, 3 credits. Was ashamed, so I never went back for those 3 credits. So everyone believes I graduated. Edit, holy shit, got a lot of responses from this, currently working but will get back to everyone as soon as I am able. Edit 2, still working on getting back to everybody. I can't believe that so many went through the same situation as myself. I thought there may be a handful of people. All of you are great and I appreciate all the advice. It has literally changed my perspective on a couple of things. Thank you all for the information, resources, and above all your personal experiences. I sometimes wonder if a bunch of people in an elevator are gonna stab me all at once. The only person in my life who knows this story is my husband. When I was 8, I was desperate to be liked by the older boys on the street. I was the youngest boy, other than a baby or two, on the block, so I rarely had any boys to play with. When I was noticed by an older boy, 19, a senior in high school, I was thrilled. He, I'll call him Mike, saw me riding my bike up and down the street one day while he was outside playing basketball with a friend of his, who I will call Sean. Together, they stopped me and talked to me about school, about my bike, and other random shit. Then, Mike invited me inside for a Coke. Since my parents didn't keep soda in the house often, this was a treat. Once inside, my can of Coke in my hand, Mike and Sean started turning the conversation to things I didn't understand. I don't remember exactly what they talked about, but I do remember a lot of questions about my body, my penis, whether I got erections, and if I had ever seen an older boy's dick. This turned into them taking their pants off and urging me to do the same. I didn't want to, but Mike knew I was an insecure little kid. He turned on the manipulation. Oh, well, I thought you were cool, Faustus. I guess not. I don't talk to boys who aren't cool. That kind of shit. I did what they asked from that point on, afraid to be uncool and not have older boys to talk to anymore. That day, all they made me do was touch them. But, for months afterward, until Mike went away to college, I was used by them. Most often, it was just Mike. About half the time, though, Sean was involved. He seemed less gung-ho about raping me than Mike did. Without going into details, if you can imagine something sexual a 19-year-old could do to an 8-year-old, he did it to me. The weirdest part about it all was, though I hated it when it was happening, I missed it when it was over. I felt special when Mike would invite me into his house. When he left for college and when Sean completely ignored me after Mike was gone, I felt lonely and unwanted again. I never told my parents. To this day, More than 30 years after the fact, they don't know that it happened. Mike and Sean never faced any sort of repercussions for what they did to me. Though, in a small bit of justice, Mike did end up going to prison about 10 years ago for doing the same thing to another boy. There are probably more than just that boy in me, but at least he finally got caught for hurting someone. It's like there's a hole inside me and the happiness leaks out of me faster than I can ever hold it. I've felt this way since about 12 years old. Counseling. Medication. Changing everything in my life. None of it has mattered. Every day I wake up and have to decide not today. My uncle owned an old Camaro that collected dust in his garage. When I was around 10, my family and I were in town visiting, and I wrote the word fuck in the dust on the hood of the car. I used my thumb so that the letters were fatter than my normal index finger. A few hours later, my aunt/uncle asked us who did it, and I proved it wasn't me by showing how the person who did it had bigger fingers than me. Taking that shit to my grave. Edit, this blew up. I'm 33 now and the entire family definitely knows it was me. It's an inside joke now where someone tries to get me to admit to it and I never will. Funny, light-hearted story from my childhood. My little brother was in the shower, I could hear him singing. I put a coat on backwards, and a stocking cap pulled over my face, and waited outside the bathroom door. He opened the door, still singing and dancing kinda, and I did the Frankenstein thing. Arms out, moaning ooh. He screamed and fell backwards, knocking the toilet completely over. Water went everywhere, the top of the toilet tank broke, shower curtain ripped down, and him laying on the floor in the middle of all this. I ran back down the hall, coat and hat off, and sauntered back casually. By then my mother and father and our sisters were there, and everyone is like, what the hell? I've heard him tell this story as proof of the existence of ghosts. To this day, little feller is now a 52-year-old bank manager with 2 kids. He believes in ghosts. I don't feel a bit bad. Pest control technician here. You're paying too much for pest control. Whoever you hired, unless it's a fairly small company, they are ripping you off. Unless you have cockroaches or bedbugs, YouTube it. Times are hard enough right now. Edit, thanks for the awards, guys. I'm getting a lot of pest control questions in my inbox. I doubt I'll have time to answer all of them, but r/pest control is a great subreddit that will help you identify pests and offer solutions. Cutting off my dad was the best decision I've made. I hope it kills him inside every day to not know how his only child and only grandchild are doing. I tried for years to have a relationship with him since age 10 until 18. From 10 to 13 he would tell me he wished I would have died when I was sick as a kindergartner because I wouldn't have tattled and ruined his marriage to my mom. I tried multiple times but was unsuccessful. I still tried to have a relationship with him for my mom, to help her financially, and would visit him for months. He'd keep me locked in a closet for hours at age 14. From 16 to 18 he thought throwing money around would help me, but I was already working by then and it didn't matter. I still have my daily battle where I ask myself if he's right or not, but I see my kid and I can't imagine thinking such vile things about them at that age like my dad did about me. I was drinking with my ex in her room when I was 19 years old. She was 23. All of a sudden I started seeing images of my uncle, who died when I was 13, in my grandmother's bathroom. He was motioning me into the shower and telling me to touch his penis. I felt like I was 5 years old, seeing that. Luckily my ex was really great and realized I was having a full-on anxiety attack during that moment. I was holding my knees, rocking back and forth, with my eyes closed. She asked me what was happening, and I was able to dictate what I was seeing. I was probably in the best place for this to have happened. I still don't know what that was all about. I don't know if it was real or something my brain made up in a drunken state. It's almost been 10 years since. I've been an addict my entire adult life. I used to drink all day every day. Before work, at work, and after work. I'd occasionally fall asleep on my lunch break or leaving work and have to make up some illness to friends and fam who were concerned. Today marks 185 days sober. Edit, holy smokes. You guys made my day. I had no idea this would get so much traction. Thank you all so much for all of the kind words, truly. And if you're reading this and currently struggling, don't give up. Better days are ahead. My grandmother has dementia. She's been dying for years now. The woman she was before is entirely gone. My grandfather is still convinced she is there, talks to her, tells us he thinks she's getting better. She's not, and he's deluding himself. She doesn't laugh anymore, or remember anyone's names, and can barely eat. In my eyes, she is already dead. Still alive to everyone else. I wish this husk of her was gone so I could remember her as she actually was, and so that I wouldn't have to watch my grandfather or the rest of my family delude himself. Call me maybe is my morning alarm. Once my mom dies, if I'm gonna keep going. When my grandpa was on his deathbed, he admitted to killing fellow Marines in the Vietnam War for torturing and raping young girls. Most of our family doesn't know. Edit. Wow, didn't expect this to blow up. Lol, thank you for all the awards. My grandpa was a pretty cool guy, very calm and mellow, so my mom and I were shocked when he admitted this to us. He was a gunsmith his whole life and was very proud of being a Marine, but the guilt he carried from the war made him believe he was being punished in the end. He died a really painful and traumatic death that I would never wish on anybody. I hope it lets him rest easier in peace that the majority of you commend what he did. I certainly never held any qualms about it. Removed. My son will never know how much I can't stand his idiot friend from next door. The kid is legitimately stupid, and so confident, which makes it worse. Edit. Since I got a lot of upvotes, let me elaborate. He's not a bad kid. He's not malicious or a troll or anything. He just has zero common sense or ability to do the simplest tasks. He constantly talks, and when he does, it's either about absolutely nothing or it's just a bunch of wrong info, and he never leaves me alone unless I'm a bit terse and short with him. My kid is a few years younger than him and has more sense. I feel like I can leave my kid alone in the house for 30 minutes if I absolutely had to. I felt like if I left this kid alone for just 10 minutes, he'd break something due to pure idiocy. I've lost my will to live, living with chronic pain. I love my kids so much, but I hate being a parent sometimes. I miss my life before kids a lot, and I hate saying that because I really do have great kids. They're just a lot. Edit. Thank you guys so fucking much. I am in tears right now. I honestly have felt so damn alone for so long about this, because when I try to talk about it with my loved ones or people I'm close to, I just get judged so bad, and I just really appreciate you guys for understanding, relating to me, sharing your experiences and advice and words of encouragement. It means so much. I'm not alone in this. Because I really do love my kids so much, and I would do absolutely anything for them. It's just so fucking hard being a parent sometimes. Thank you guys again.